You know what really separates people who achieve big dreams from those who do not? It is not luck. It is not raw talent. It is belief. The simple, quiet, powerful belief that you are genuinely capable of doing great things. Because here is the truth. We act not according to what is actually possible, but according to what we believe is possible. In The Magic of Thinking Big, David Schwartz makes it clear that everything starts in the mind. If you think small, you act small. If you think big, you act boldly. And your results will always end up matching your mindset, whether you intend them to or not. Think about it honestly. How many times have you held yourself back from applying for that job, starting that business, or speaking up in a meeting, simply because a small voice inside whispered, "You're not ready," or "You're not good enough"? That voice is not truth. It is fear wearing the disguise of realism. Schwartz challenges us to break completely free from that mindset. He reminds us that belief works like a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you truly believe you can do something, you naturally start finding ways to make it happen. Your energy rises, your focus sharpens, and people around you start responding to your confidence almost without realizing why. Belief is contagious. When you radiate it, others begin believing in you too. Before we dive in, if you are watching this on YouTube, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We bring you inspiring book summaries and life-changing lessons every single week. And this one might just be the push you needed today. Let us get into it. Chapter 1. Believe before you see the result. How do you build real belief when doubt feels so much louder? You start small. Begin by catching those limiting thoughts the moment they appear. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," replace it with, "How can I make this work?" That tiny shift changes everything, because your brain immediately starts looking for solutions instead of excuses. Visualize yourself succeeding, not in some vague fantasy way, but in vivid emotional detail. See yourself finishing that project, nailing that presentation, achieving that goal you have been circling around for months. The more clearly you picture it, the more your mind begins to accept it as a real and achievable outcome. And remember, self-confidence is not arrogance. It is a quiet assurance that you have what it takes to learn, to grow, and to figure things out along the way, even when you do not have every answer yet. The people who think big do not have it all figured out in advance. They simply believe they will find a way. And because they believe it so consistently, they usually do. So the first magic of thinking big is this. Believe in yourself even when there is no evidence yet. Believe before you see the result. Because belief does not follow success. Success follows belief. Once you genuinely accept that one idea, the world around you starts to shift in ways you never thought possible. Chapter 2. The size of your thinking determines the size of your life. Most people live their entire lives inside invisible walls. Walls built almost entirely by their own thoughts. They do not dream too high. They do not reach too far. Because somewhere along the way, someone told them to be realistic. But here is the twist worth sitting with. What we often call realistic is usually just another word for limited. Thinking big is not about ignoring reality. It is about expanding it. David Schwartz says, "The size of your success is determined by the size of your thinking." Small thinking keeps you stuck inside safe, predictable circles. Big thinking, on the other hand, pushes you into new territory, into challenges and opportunities you did not even know existed. When you think big, you start asking bigger questions, not how can I get by, but how can I make a real difference? Not what's the minimum I can do, but what's the maximum I'm actually capable of. Thinking big does not mean daydreaming aimlessly or chasing fame for its own sake. It means widening your mental lens, seeing yourself, your goals, and your potential in a grander light. It is about asking for more from life, simply because you genuinely know you are capable of more. The moment you start seeing yourself as someone who deserves good things, someone worthy of real success, your actions naturally begin to align with that vision. Here is something worth remembering. Every great achievement in human history began as a single thought. The airplane, the smartphone, every skyscraper, every meaningful movement. All of it started in someone's imagination first. Big thinkers see possibilities where others see limits. They are not special in some unreachable way. They simply refuse to let small thoughts dictate their future. So how do you actually develop a think big mindset? Start by surrounding yourself with people who lift you higher. The energy you absorb from others genuinely shapes how far you allow yourself to see. Next, challenge your own small language. Replace I hope with I will. Replace maybe with definitely. And finally, keep your goals just slightly out of reach. Not impossible, but big enough to genuinely stretch you. Because when you think big, your mind begins to grow to match your vision. You start taking bolder action. You start speaking with more confidence. You start attracting opportunities that once felt completely out of your league. The world responds differently to people who think differently. So stop asking what is reasonable. Start asking what is possible. That is exactly where the magic begins. Chapter 3. Defeat excusitis before it defeats you. Let us be honest. Fear and excuses are the biggest dream killers that exist. You can have talent, potential, and genuine ambition, but if fear is sitting in the driver's seat, you will never get very far. David Schwartz calls this mental disease excusitis, and once you start recognizing it clearly, you will notice how often it quietly sneaks into everyday life. Excusitis shows up in many different forms. There is health excusitis. I'd love to chase my goals, but my energy just isn't great right now. There is age excusitis. I'm too young to start. Or on the flip side, I'm too old to change at this point. There is intelligence excusitis. I'm just not smart enough for that kind of thing. And then there is luck excusitis. Some people just get lucky. I wasn't born under a lucky star. Sound familiar? These excuses sound logical on the surface, but they are really just ways we protect ourselves from discomfort. They let us off the hook before we even genuinely try. Here is the truth. Everyone feels fear, without exception. Every successful person you admire has battled the exact same inner doubts you have. The only real difference is this: they moved forward anyway. They did not wait around for the fear to disappear completely. They took action despite still feeling afraid. Schwartz reminds us that action is the actual cure for fear. The longer you wait, the stronger that fear naturally grows. But the moment you take a step, any step at all, your confidence begins to grow in return, and the fear gradually starts to fade. Here is a mindset shift that genuinely helps. Instead of thinking, "What if I fail?" Try asking instead, "What if I succeed?" Our brains are naturally wired to protect us, so they default to imagining worst-case scenarios. But if you deliberately visualize success instead, really imagine how good it will feel to make real progress, you begin to override that fear circuit. You are literally training your brain to expect positive outcomes rather than disaster. And when it comes to excuses specifically, stop letting them quietly control your story. Every single time you say, "I can't," you reinforce a limit that may not actually exist at all. Catch yourself right in the middle of an excuse. Ask honestly, is this fact or is this fear? You will often discover it is simply fear dressed up to look like logic. And once you see that clearly, you get to choose courage instead. Remember this: nobody has ever built a remarkable life by playing it completely safe. Fear shrinks the moment it is faced directly. And excuses disappear the moment they are replaced by genuine action. The next time fear whispers that you are not ready, smile and take one small step forward anyway. Because the only real way to get rid of fear is to walk straight through it and prove to yourself that it never actually had power over you to begin with. Chapter 4. Confidence is built, not born. Confidence is not something you are simply born with. It is something you build, piece by piece, through your own actions. And the way you build it is not by waiting until you feel ready. It is by acting before you feel ready at all. David Schwartz puts it perfectly. Action cures fear. The more you do, the more confident you naturally become. The less you do, the more doubt continues to grow in that empty space. Think back to the very first time you tried anything genuinely new. Driving a car for the first time. Speaking in public. Starting a new job. You probably felt nervous, unsure, maybe even a little terrified in the moment. But once you actually started doing it, the fear began to fade noticeably. Why does that happen? Because real experience replaces uncertainty with concrete evidence. Every time you take action, you gather proof that you are genuinely capable. Confidence is built from these small wins, not from waiting around for some perfect moment that never quite arrives. One of the biggest misconceptions people carry is the belief that confidence has to come first, with action following afterward. But it actually works in the exact opposite order. You act first, and the confidence shows up afterward as a direct result. Just like a muscle, confidence strengthens specifically through use. The more you step into discomfort on purpose, the more natural it becomes to handle challenges that once genuinely scared you. So, how do you actually put this into practice? Start by taking small, consistent actions. Do not aim for perfection right out of the gate. Aim for steady progress instead. If public speaking genuinely scares you, speak up just once in a meeting this week. If you want to start a business, take one simple step today. Research your idea, talk to a single potential customer, or just write down your basic plan. Each individual action functions like a deposit into your confidence bank. The more deposits you make, the richer your overall self-belief becomes over time. Another genuinely powerful habit is celebrating your small victories along the way. Most people only celebrate the big, obvious wins, but real confidence is actually built in the micro moments, the times you show up even when it feels uncomfortable to do so. Acknowledge your own courage, no matter how small it might feel in the moment. That simple recognition reinforces the underlying belief that you can handle even more going forward. Finally, remember this clearly. People who appear genuinely confident are not actually fearless underneath it all. They have simply learned to take action despite feeling afraid. They trust that they will figure the rest out along the way. So instead of waiting for the right mood, the perfect timing, or some ideal level of self-assurance, take one bold step today. Because confidence does not come from thinking about it endlessly. It comes from doing it. And the more you do, the more genuinely unstoppable you become over time. Chapter 5. Your attitude is a magnet. Your attitude works like a magnet. It either pulls real opportunities toward you, or it quietly pushes them away without you even noticing. David Schwartz emphasizes that success does not actually start with skills or with luck. It starts with a positive mental attitude. The way you think shapes the way you feel, and the way you feel shapes how you ultimately act. When your attitude is genuinely positive, your actions become powerful. When it turns negative, even the very best plans tend to fall flat. Think about the people you genuinely enjoy being around. Chances are they radiate good energy. They make you feel hopeful, motivated, and capable just by being near them. That is not some random coincidence. Positive people create environments where ideas and possibilities naturally thrive. Negativity, on the other hand, drains creativity and confidence wherever it shows up. A bad attitude makes every problem look bigger, and every opportunity look noticeably smaller than it actually is. As Schwartz puts it, the size of your success is determined by the size of your belief, and belief itself is sustained primarily by a positive mindset. Here is a simple truth worth holding on to. Life is largely about perspective. Two people can face the exact same situation. One sees a dead end. The other sees a detour leading somewhere even better. The difference is never really the circumstance itself. It is the attitude brought to that circumstance. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond to it. And your response ultimately determines whether you rise above the situation or stay stuck inside it. Positive thinking is not about ignoring real challenges or pretending everything is perfect when it clearly is not. It is about choosing to focus specifically on what you can control and actively finding the lesson or the opportunity hiding inside every obstacle. For example, instead of saying, "This is too hard," try saying, "This is a chance to grow." Instead of, "I failed," try, "I learned what doesn't work." This is not simply feel-good advice for its own sake. It is genuinely rewiring your brain to operate from empowerment rather than from limitation. Here is something genuinely powerful you can try starting tomorrow morning. Begin your day by asking yourself, what's good about today? It sounds small, almost too simple to matter, but it trains your mind to actively look for possibilities instead of automatically scanning for problems. The more you practice gratitude and genuine optimism, the more naturally you start seeing the bright side of things, and that shift directly affects your real-world results over time. Remember, people are naturally drawn to positive energy. Employers hire it. Friends genuinely appreciate it. Opportunities consistently flow toward it. A winning attitude has the power to turn ordinary abilities into genuinely exceptional outcomes. So if you want to think big and live big, guard your attitude like the treasure it actually is. Because your attitude is not simply how you happen to see the world. It is the very lens through which your entire world gets created. Chapter 6. Set goals big enough to stretch you. Big thinking without clear goals is really just wishful daydreaming. David Schwartz makes this point clearly. People who achieve extraordinary success are not simply lucky or naturally smarter than everyone else. They think big specifically by setting clear, meaningful goals and then using genuine creativity to reach them. Goals give your big thinking real structure. They turn pure imagination into actual, concrete action. Without them, even the most powerful ideas tend to quietly fade away over time. Think of your goals as a kind of personal GPS. They tell your mind exactly where to go, and they help filter out unnecessary distractions along the way. But Schwartz reminds us not to simply set small, safe goals you already know you can reach without much effort. Set goals that genuinely stretch you instead. Goals that make you a little nervous, because that nervous edge is precisely where real growth happens. If your goals do not excite you, or even scare you just a little, they are probably not quite big enough yet. Once you have set those bigger goals, the next step is learning to think creatively about how to actually achieve them. Schwartz believed that real success belongs specifically to people who learn to think up instead of thinking down. Instead of saying, "It can't be done," they ask instead, "How can it be done?" That simple shift in phrasing opens the door to genuine innovation. Creative thinking, at its core, is really just problem-solving approached from a wider perspective. When you stop fixating on obstacles and start focusing on real possibilities, your brain naturally begins finding ways around the limitations in front of you. Here is a practical exercise worth trying this week. Write down your main goal clearly. Then challenge yourself to list 10 different possible ways to achieve it. Do not judge any of the ideas as you go. Just let your creativity flow freely, without censoring it. You will likely be surprised how many new paths appear once you stop assuming there is only one single way forward. Often, the most successful people are not the ones who had the perfect plan from day one. They are the ones who kept thinking, adjusting, and inventing new strategies until something finally worked. Another powerful tip directly from Schwartz: visualize your success in genuinely vivid detail. Do not just casually wish for it. See it clearly. Feel it emotionally. Truly believe it is possible. Imagine the end result fully, and then work backward to map out the actual steps required to get there. When your mind clearly knows what the destination looks like, it begins finding routes to get there, often even on a subconscious level. And do not forget, goals are not only for your career or for making money. They can apply just as powerfully to personal growth, relationships, health, or simple everyday happiness. The key is to think consistently in terms of expansion. How can you become more, give more, and genuinely experience more of life? Every single time you write down a goal, you are essentially making a quiet contract with yourself to grow beyond your current limits. So do not be afraid to dream big and think creatively about how to get there. Big thinkers do not wait around for the perfect plan to appear. They create that plan as they go, adjusting along the way. Remember clearly, goals are the actual bridges between your dreams and your reality. The moment you decide exactly what you want and start thinking boldly about how to get it, you have already begun building that bridge. Chapter 7. Think Big by Lifting Others Up. No matter how talented or ambitious you happen to be, success is never truly a solo journey. David Schwartz reminds us that genuine big thinkers understand the real power of relationships. They know how to lift others up, inspire genuine confidence in people around them, and build real connections that ultimately multiply everyone's success. Thinking big is not just about what you personally achieve. It is just as much about how you help others grow along the way. Leadership, according to Schwartz, begins specifically with how you treat the people around you. Real leaders do not dominate or intimidate the people they work with. They encourage, they genuinely listen, and they make others feel capable of more than they previously believed. They see real potential where others tend to see only flaws. And precisely because of that, people naturally want to follow them. Think of the best leader or mentor you have personally ever had. They probably did not simply give you orders to follow. They made you genuinely believe you could do more than you thought possible at the time. That, in essence, is the core of big thinking applied specifically to relationships. One key trait shared by successful leaders is respect. Respect for other people's time, their opinions, and their genuine differences. Small thinkers tend to criticize, gossip, and compete out of underlying insecurity. Big thinkers, by clear contrast, choose to collaborate instead. They build bridges rather than walls. They focus consistently on possibilities rather than dwelling on problems. When you genuinely think big, you understand clearly that helping others succeed never actually takes away from your own success. It expands it considerably. Here is something genuinely practical you can start doing today. Make it a daily habit to express genuine, sincere appreciation. Compliment people honestly when it is warranted. Give credit freely and openly. Acknowledge real effort, even in moments when the results were not quite perfect. A handful of kind, sincere words can completely shift someone's motivation and overall outlook. Schwartz emphasizes that encouragement is essentially a leadership superpower. It costs you absolutely nothing to offer, yet it has the power to transform individual people and entire teams in meaningful ways. Another essential aspect of strong leadership is communication. Big thinkers genuinely know how to talk positively about other people. They consistently avoid negative talk because they understand clearly that words create real energy, and that energy naturally spreads outward to everyone around them. When you speak well of people, they feel genuinely valued, and that sense of value tends to return to you in the form of trust and goodwill over time. Finally, remember that leadership is never really about holding a particular title. It is fundamentally about influence. You are leading every single day, whether you fully realize it or not. You lead your family, you lead your co-workers, you lead your friends, and most importantly, you lead yourself first and foremost. The real question worth asking is this: are you leading from fear, or are you leading from a clear vision? Big thinkers consistently lead from vision. They inspire genuine confidence in others, not because they have every single answer figured out, but because they sincerely believe answers can always be found if you keep looking for them. So if you genuinely want to think big, start by thinking generously toward others as well. Support the people around you. Believe in their potential just as fiercely as you believe in your own. Because when you help other people rise, you naturally rise right along with them. At its core, the real magic of thinking big is not solely about building a great personal life. It is about building a genuinely meaningful impact that extends well beyond yourself. Chapter 8. Make Big Thinking a Daily Habit. Big thinking sounds genuinely inspiring on its own, but here is the real question worth asking. How do you actually turn it into a daily habit? How do you take all of these ideas and turn them into consistent actions that genuinely change your life over time? David Schwartz reminds us that real success is never built in a single moment of motivation. It is built in the small, consistent choices you make every single day. Big thinking ultimately has to become a genuine lifestyle, not just an occasional mindset you visit when you feel inspired. Start each day by feeding your mind with something genuinely positive. The very first thoughts you have each morning set the tone for your entire day ahead. Instead of immediately grabbing your phone and scrolling through negativity, take a few quiet minutes instead to visualize your goals clearly. Picture yourself already achieving them. Feel the confidence, the pride, and the genuine joy that comes with that achievement. That kind of mental rehearsal actively programs your brain to act in close alignment with success before your day has even properly begun. Next, deliberately surround yourself with other big thinkers. Energy is genuinely contagious, and the people you spend the most time with directly influence both how you think and what you believe is realistically possible for your own life. If you are constantly surrounded by people who complain or consistently play small, you will slowly start shrinking your own vision to match theirs without even realizing it. But when you connect instead with dreamers, doers, and genuine optimists, their belief naturally fuels yours in return. Be intentional and deliberate about your circle. It can quite literally shape the trajectory of your future. Another genuinely important habit worth building is practicing gratitude and reflection consistently. Take just 5 minutes each evening to honestly ask yourself, what did I do today that moved me closer to my goals, and what can I improve tomorrow? This simple nightly check-in keeps your overall growth genuinely on track. Real progress is rarely about giant, dramatic leaps forward. It is about steady, deliberate steps taken consistently in the right direction over time. Schwartz also reminds us to think big even in our smallest, most ordinary actions, whether it is how you dress, how you speak, or how you approach your daily work. Carry yourself like the person you genuinely want to become. Excellence is fundamentally a habit, not a single isolated event. When you consistently give your best honest effort, opportunities naturally begin gravitating toward you over time, almost without your direct effort to seek them out. And perhaps most importantly of all, never stop learning. Read books regularly. Listen to podcasts that challenge your existing thinking. Watch content that genuinely stretches your perspective. Every new idea you encounter expands your mental horizons just a little bit further. Growth-minded people do not simply wait around for success to arrive on its own. They actively prepare for it well in advance. So as we bring this audiobook to a close, remember this clearly. The magic of thinking big is not about being perfect. It is about genuinely believing in yourself, setting bold goals worth pursuing, and taking consistent action every single day, regardless of how you happen to feel in the moment. Do not let fear or doubt quietly shrink your dreams down to something smaller than they deserve to be. Start thinking big right now, in every single decision you make going forward. And that brings us to the end of this journey, through the magic of thinking big. From believing before you see results, to defeating excusitis, to building real confidence through action, to guarding your attitude like treasure, to setting goals big enough to genuinely stretch you, to lifting others up along the way. Every single lesson here points back to one simple truth. Your life grows in exactly the direction your thinking grows. If you found real value in this video, take a moment to hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this message reach more people who need to hear it today. Share it with someone in your life who could use a reminder to think a little bigger this week. And if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to Audiobook Library for more inspiring book summaries and genuinely life-changing lessons released regularly for you to grow with. Drop a comment below and let us know which idea from this one hit you the hardest today and which goal you are finally ready to stretch yourself toward. Keep thinking big, keep taking action, and we will see you in the next one.